Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. We're doing something different today. We're in person.
We are in person.
Yes. Why are we in person? Well, I officially moved back to LA.
Yes, y'all. I want to hear the story. I feel like it's only right that you tell us the story.
The story of how I got here?
Yes.
Okay. So, Isaac originally did not want to move to LA. Isaac is my partner. But I've been manifesting me moving back, I feel like, because I've been talking about it over and over and over. And so things kind of aligned to where we got an opportunity to come out here for him to train at UCLA. And so we're here. And then some doors open for me to not pay rent. And so I love to not pay rent in LA, especially I miss home too. So, all my coins are now going to eating good food, which is really bad because I ain't been working out. But I will worry about that another day. But I am here. And so now you live 7 minutes from me?
6.
She lives 6 minutes from me. And so it's perfect because I've seen you twice this week, which is more than, before.
Yeah, y'all, we get to just go to parks and just walk around. Myra, she's in my opinion, you're an outside person, which I love. She takes her child everywhere. Like, Shyla gets to experience the world and to be a part of that now. I'm super happy. And I think it's helpful too because it's gonna get me out of the house because I be in the house, y'all.
She do because she says she don't like to smell like outside.
I don't like to smell outside. I don't know if y'all know about that terminology, but growing up, especially in Kentucky, you will smell like outside.
Okay.
You go even now, even in LA, if you go outside and you walk, even if it ain't too hot, you out there for about an hour, you come in,
you gonna smell like
it's
outside?
Gonna be a little sniff of something. I don't know if we want to call. I don't know what we want to call it. Nature, if that's better for people. But I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like to feel fresh. And then once I get inside, I don't want to sit on nothing. I don't know if everybody feels like that, but I don't want to sit on my furniture. Of course, not my bed. So it's immediately I have to take a shower. But what if I want to keep my day going? It just feels icky.
So were you one of those families where it's don't sit around in your outside clothes? When you came inside, it was you don't want to be in your outside clothes on the bed and certain spots in the house?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. You had your outside clothes. So when you came in, you could change into that. So even your shoes and stuff, usually you wouldn't wear your school shoes outside.
Oh.
You got your outside shoes. Because when you go outside, it gets real. Right? You're going to get down.
Okay.
So you need to wear the shoes that you get down in, not the shoes you go to school in.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Or even if you did wear your uniform, that's fine. But you for sure changing those shoes, I feel was more important. But yeah. Or I'm just telling you, just thinking of coming in the house and you'll hear somebody say don't come in out of my house smelling like the outside.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I guess that's one of those little generation things that just stuck with me. But I want to work on it because I need to be outside more in the nature. It feels so good.
There's so many places to go.
I know. LA has so much to offer.
So much.
What was the park that we went to? Because I've never been there. What was it called?
Reuben Ingold Park in Windsor Hills. Yeah, Reuben Ingold. It's a walking park, predominantly Black neighborhood. Everybody on this track be Black. A lot of older Black women that's going to compliment you and talk to you. That's what I loved. And older Black men, too, they're going to watch your back. So it feels so good to be whole. This was not happening in San Diego. Black people out there look at you and just be like, and I'd be like,
they don't speak.
People are going to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And how they are with the baby, too. They were so gracious to the baby and just
they
helping
always
out.
Are. Yeah.
San Diego for sure. I doubt
that would never
get that. Yeah. They barely say hello. And if you say hello, they look at you like something's wrong with you.
Exactly. And I'd be like,
what's wrong with you?
Let me go look at the mirror real quick.
It's not us. It's them.
For real. Yeah. So today is a special episode. As usual, all the episodes are special, but it's just us two. We know y'all like that. So before we hop in, do we have a quote? You got a quote you gonna run by us?
I don't. I don't. We went through the quote list, and so I have not added to it. And I'm not one of those people. I'm not a person who recites and remembers stuff. So
then can I share something?
You can.
Okay. So Donika loves Ayana Van Zant, and I have my I don't know. I don't hate her. I don't love her. I don't really have no real feelings. I just know when I watch her on TV, I'll be like, why is this making me feel some type of way? I don't know what type of way it makes me feel, but it makes me feel a way. But you always talk about her books. And so I got one of her books. I've had the book all my life because it was my mom's. I guess she bought it for herself. But she has daily devotionals. And they have really high reviews. And so Lauren London, even though Lauren London talks about a lot of different books, and I've bought one book, and I was like, I can't really get into this. It was more textbook-like. I was like, she's talking about daily devotionals, and I kind of want to check that out and see, what she's talking about. When I tell you these devotionals be reading me to filth, but in the best ways, like, I start my sessions with them now, and my clients be like, I feel like this is written for me. So I got to look up the name, and we'll put it in the show notes because I don't remember off the top of my head. But I gave this woman a chance, and she actually is pretty good.
I told you.
I was running from her, though, because she scares me.
I know it's one of those where some of the stuff that she says is problematic, you know, but I will say, shout out to Yana because she always says that she's not a therapist. She always says, I'm not a therapist. And she will even refer people to therapy and say, you need therapy. She's a life coach. Life coaches, they just tell you all type of stuff, however they want it to come out, even if it's problematic or not.
Okay.
Like she does that. And so when you listen to her, if you can't filter, I would say listen with somebody who maybe can filter. Because if not, like if I didn't know, if I probably wasn't a therapist, I think that it may be confusing, some of the stuff she says.
Yeah.
The books, though, her books are phenomenal. Absolutely.
I see.
Yeah, the books are phenomenal. But like if you listening to her podcast or the show, I would say like be around people who can filter out like what's helpful and what's not. Because that's it. Because when I listen to her podcast, it'd be hilarious. She be saying stuff. I'd be like, why would you tell them that? And they be like, yeah, okay. I'm like, that does not make sense, So it can be bad, but the good stuff is good. And she's been doing this for so long. Like she's Iyanla she's that lady. She's that woman. Shout out to Iyanla for sure.
One of her passages, it talks about when we ask questions and we know the answer, to learn how to not question yourself. I got to send you a picture of it. But she really broke down.
Say that again. Say it again.
When we ask questions and we know the answer, how we need to stop ourselves from doing that because the answer is within our question. And when I read that, I was like, huh? And then she like really broke it down. I was like, that is so true. Oftentimes we do ask questions seeking a certain answer when we already know what the answer is. Yes. So learning to trust ourselves with that. And then another one I read the other day, she talked about how we're basically like all computers. It's an older book. So she talks about how like we're all computers and we have to make sure we keep our software updated, which means making sure that we are connected to whatever feels good spiritually. So if that's God, making sure you stay connected in that way because you'll continue to get, your system updated. But if your system ain't updated, you can't receive nothing, and your computer gonna be outdated because you ain't updating yourself, right?
Yes, that's a great.
It's making me think about those old computers where you had to have like the like McAfee protection to stay updated, so you didn't get viruses.
You had to keep updating it like every 90 days or something like that. Yeah,
she be spending some stuff. I'd be like, okay,
that is a great analogy.
It'd be so good.
That is good. Yeah, see, it's good stuff. It's great stuff.
I'm happy I gave her a chance.
I am too, because you be like, and you're not the only one, though. That's the thing. I be feeling so bad. I'm like, dang, she has a really bad rep. But obviously, people love her, though.
The reviews are excellent. Once I saw the reviews, like the book I got is like 5 stars, but this is like thousands and thousands of reviews. So that would make me know, like, okay, maybe I should check this out because that's excellent.
Yeah. I think it's contingent upon, too. Even you said your mom had a book. That means her mom, past, generation. Like, Iyanla's been doing this for a minute. So the older generation, they have stuck by her. I think that's what it is, too. Mm-hmm. But the young ones, when you talk about Iyanla, they be like...
yeah, because she's scary. She is scary.
I'm trying to... That's not on my watch. Yeah. But anyways, that right there, was that your quote? That piece? Is that what you...
I guess it could
pretty much
resource, both, yeah.
Quote/resource, yeah. So thank you for that. You always have something.
Yeah, okay.
So today, we just going off the top of the head. We don't have any questions because it's just us.
Yes.
So I feel like, matter of fact, Myra, I feel like you always have something. What are we gonna talk about?
So today we're going to talk about what it means to process, because I keep getting these clients that come to me and they think that processing means we're going to have a conversation, I'm going to tell them stuff to do, and then they're going to come back and they're going to be healed. And so I literally had to ask my clients, most of them, because this has been coming up pretty consistently, what does it mean to process? Like, what does it mean for you specifically to process? Because for me, to process means I'm going to talk out loud. I'm going to honor what emotions come from it. And that's how I'm going to process. I'm not looking for any miracle to happen. I'm not looking for a change to happen overnight, but rather over time, because I'm continuing to work through it. So today I wanted to talk about what does it mean to process, and what does that look like for us, and what are even tips and tools that maybe we found to be helpful outside of the therapy room.
Whew.
That's a hard one.
I mean, it's just you giving your example, you know, because I'm thinking of, like you're saying, I mean, it's the piece of people coming in expecting to this healed piece that we've talked about. If you haven't,
Yes, we have.
well, you know, and people have been talking about it more of like there's not an ending to it. So to think that you're going to come, we're going to talk, and that it's just going to be done is already like, ooh. So, yeah, I think that is already deep. But in getting into this processing piece, I mean, in the word processing, look at me starting to getting into the word, the ing, continuing, going, that means it's a continuous process, right? There's no way that you should come in one therapy session and think that you've processed, done, and it's over.
Exactly.
You know, maybe you're starting the processing phase. Yeah. And so I think that's important to note. And that, like Myra's saying, it does look very different for different people. Because even in therapy, processing looks different in the session. And the therapy sessions look different with different people. So to think that it's going to be one way of like, okay, I say these things out loud, and then my therapist or whoever tells me this, and then I've processed it.
And even as a therapist, I feel like on the other end, we're processing, right? Like,
oh my goodness.
I was noticing, and I even said this to one of my clients, sometimes I feel like clients present to me all the issues I'm struggling with, and they just put it in my face. And now I'm having to talk you through it to help you process. And now in the back end, I'm processing too, because now I'm like, okay, I said this thing to you. I should be saying that thing to myself. I recommend this book to you. I ain't even read the book. Ooh. I told you to do this thing. I told you to go put your feet in the grass every day to, you know, get connected to the earth and feel good. I ain't even went outside. So I feel like, you know, there's, again, so many different ways to process. And as therapists, like, we're processing with our clients. And I'm noticing that's coming up so much because it's so in my face of like, you dealing with that too, girl. Get it together.
No, seriously. Always. So, like, in some senses, you're, like, double processing. Yes. That's what you're saying.
Yes. I'm just saying it's not unique in that when I'm in the therapy room, that's my only space to process. When I sit and have conversations with you, I'm processing too, because I'm filtering through what's coming up, what's going on.
We're always
right? Like, in so many different sections of your life, you are processing. That's why I keep pushing on my clients. You're not going to come sit with me and we're going to process what you're thinking. We're going to sit here and talk about things in a certain way. I'm going to give you a formula, and then you're going to go home, and then you're going to come back, you be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I wish that was how it was, though.
But then we wouldn't have a job.
We still probably would have a job. People still want to, sometimes you just want to support to still do that. Okay, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I think that, like, I think it's good that even that people come into a session and even wanting to do that is a great start. But I think even helping our clients or ourselves, like, figure out different ways to process. So it's like you could go to, you know, the beach by yourself. It doesn't mean, you don't need anybody to process with. That's the thing. You could journal. You could listen to music. I think it's about the intentionality. Like, if you tell yourself, I'm doing this to process, essentially processing, you know, with or without your therapist. So how do you process? Let's get a little deep.
Like, how do I personally process? I think for me, it's so many different ways to do it, right? Like, but I feel like most recently it's about being open and honest. Like, I feel like having people who I feel I can be honest with, I'm not gonna lie to. Like, for you, I feel like you know most of all my business. Like, I don't care if you know how I look butt naked, you know, all the things, right? But for me, that's processing, because I know that you're not going to be biased. You're going to challenge me. And with you challenging me, that's my next level of processing. So for me, I even broke it down to my client, like, mine's is layered. I need to talk out loud. I need to kind of hear back what I'm saying, but in a different way. So I know if anything I tell you, you're going to challenge me. You're never going to just be like, yeah, girl. You're going to be like, I don't know about that. Did you think about this? And I was like, oh my God, I hate when you do that. But thank you for doing that so much, because now I'm receiving what you're saying because I respect you. If you don't respect the person, you ain't gonna receive it. I respect you, so I receive it, and I take that in. I'm like, okay, let me throw some more stuff at her, because I'll be talking to you a lot. Throw a lot more at you. You give me more challenging questions, whatever. I sit with that. Then I go home and take that, journal it out, give myself a moment, see how I feel with this new information. How am I thinking about how I want to maneuver the next thing? Sometimes you be like, you should try this thing. And even that's a part of processing too, trying out a new thing, because it's like, okay, what will this change? What won't it change? How's that going to happen?
Yeah.
But then kind of coming back and doing it again and be like, okay, so I did it. And then this is what happened. So it's ongoing. It's never going to be, for me,
yes,
this is the end, because I want to grow.
You want to grow. Yeah, I agree. I like all those things. I think as you was talking about it, I was processing. And what I was thinking about is my processing is kind of the opposite.
Okay.
Where it's I do the journaling first. I kind of do and filter through myself. And then I start talking to people. And so what I realized, because I used to be one who, when something happened, I immediately wanted to talk to people. Like I grow and I learn from talking to people. Like I have to, like that's a part of my life. But I do think in certain situations, I've learned that sometimes, you said it earlier with this quote, you already know the answer.
Very true.
So why do I need to even tell somebody or talk to somebody to process when I already know the answer? Sometimes it's like that. And so when I journal or I process by myself, I'll come up with it. And then sometimes, though, when I journal and it feels like it needs some more deeper processing, then I feel like that's when I call my support people and I start talking. And I feel like I have different people for different things, you know what I'm saying, who provide different levels of support and different types of comfort. I would say it's probably a nice little, I know some people not to call. Like, I'm not calling you about this one. But I would say I have a nice little, I would say a little tribe. Yeah. I mean, off the top of my head, I would say my sister, that's one of my best friends. Sandria for sure. Yes. You and
your mama too.
Not necessarily.
I feel like you be calling her for stuff.
Nah.
Or is it your grandma?
No. See, those people I do call, but those are like after these layers of the process, is layers to it. Yes. So let's say that I've been like continue to process. I've talked to you, my sisters, Andrea, I feel like, I'm sorry if I'm missing other friends. I'm sorry, y'all. But these are the people who's coming to mind right now. Like say I've done those things and I'm still, it's been weeks. And again, it's that continue, it doesn't stop. And say I am processing and stuff is happening. I'm trying to implement changes. But it's like, dang, I've been dealing with this for a minute. Yeah. Then I might tell my mama. Okay. Or I might tell my grandmother, or like more the outer support people who is like, they're there, but they're not like those, first people that I talk to. Okay. And that's because at that point, I'm like, dang, I need an extra layer of processing that obviously is not happening here. Right. Oh yeah. Especially my grandmother, like that type of, that wisdom is just, yeah. It's like, what's the word? It's out of body, or what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but for my grandmother, yeah, that wisdom is absurd. My mom, she gonna be like, she's very much like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, all right, time to move on. All right, she'll listen to the things you try. She might have some different things to add. But yeah, and from there, like, I can't think of the next even layer of processing, but I feel like I do it the opposite. But I do feel like I used to do it that way. And so I think even in that, talking about like the different realms and the different ways you
gotta
learn
do what
how
works
to
for you. Because for me, I know I'm not going to challenge myself. And I'm honest with myself about that. So that's why I need to be challenged first, so that I can have a moment to reflect. Because Isaac will tell me, like, you create your narrative and you live in that. And I know that for myself. If I see things a certain way, I don't see it any other way. Ooh. So I need to be challenged first, so that way I can push myself to be like, such and such pointed out X, Y, and Z thing. You need to think about that.
Dang.
Yeah.
Hey, that's some real.
I think that's a good note to end on, y'all. I think that we should give y'all that to take and think about what it means for you to process, what you need for that to look like for you, and just how you're even sitting in that ongoing.
Yeah. And being okay with it. Yeah. Being okay with that. Kind of like the whole healed thing, that you're never healed.
Yeah.
You're always going to be processing. And that's okay. If it gets tiring, take a break. Because like what we're talking about, and I do, sometimes, yeah, we have to, and I think me and Myra especially, we go in and out of like the very deep conversations, and we go into like the fun ones.
Yeah.
But if we just sat and we quote unquote process the
I
whole
would
time,
not. Oof.
it's draining.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, it becomes draining. So sometimes you do need to take a little step back. Maybe you tell a friend or somebody who y'all been processing for a while, oh, let's talk about something else real quick.
Yes.
Because it's overwhelming. So, but yeah, I think this is a good topic though. Thank you for bringing it up.
Of course, y'all. That's it for this week's episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. Be sure to tune in every week and give us a rating.